And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like you to meet Jim Sauter. This is a young man that you've heard a lot about, and if you read the racing publications, you see his name from time to time. As a matter of fact, Jim won a race out at Indiana Speedway about a week ago last Saturday night. As I read the story about that, Jim, and it seemed like you were not expected to run at Indiana that evening. You just popped in and took first place. What happened?
Well, we were on our way to Michigan, to a racetrack in Michigan, and so we thought we'd stop by and give the folks a little show if we could.
You prefer half-mile tracks?
I like any racetrack. I've always liked most any racetrack, though. Like your little racetrack here is going to be a real good challenge to us, and I'm looking forward to it.
What type tracks do you run in Wisconsin near your home of Nacita?
We go mostly half miles. We got Wisconsin Dells is a third mile. La Crosse is a half mile. Kaukauna is a good half mile. And Wausau is a third mile. So we've got Slinger is a high bank third mile. That's a real quick track. We turn that in the 11 bracket. So we're acquainted with most size tracks.
Are those mostly paved surfaces, or do you race dirt also?
They're all paved. Everything we race is paved.
Did you ever know that there's only 3 paved tracks in the state of Illinois?
No, I didn't know that.
A lot of racetracks in this state. Only 3 of them are paved. Grundy County, Rockford, and this track here.
And I've been at all of them, counting this one now tonight.
That's right. Coming out to Raceway for the first time like this, what problems does this present for a driver?
Well, a driver has to learn the racetrack as quickly as possible, and that's usually consisted of about 20 laps of practice and then go out and qualify. So it's like when I said a challenge, I meant just that. It's quite a challenge because we're trying to put on a good show for the folks, and we don't want to look too stupid, you know.
Do you fellas, when you come to a track like Raceway Park, do you know in advance what gear you're going to use or what changes you have to make in the car?
We can speculate pretty much on what gears to use. As far as changes in the car, we have to wait and kind of feel those out. And also, we ask around. I mean, most of the fellows are real good, and they tell us pretty close to what to use.
Do any of our local drivers volunteer any information?
Oh, yeah, they're all a bunch of pretty good guys, you know. They run hard, and they're tough, you know, and they know their racetrack, so they're going to all be darn tough to beat.
Now, you'll go out to practice in a few minutes. What changes can you make after you practice, say, 15 laps or 20 laps? What will you do when you come back in the pits?
Well, we'll change splits in the tires. In other words, circumferences of the tires are very important. Air pressures in the tires. Springs, if need be. Sway bars. We've got a million things to change, and generally our cars are close enough at any racetrack. We don't have to change much but tires and sway bars. But occasionally, if we run into something that's a little tough, and if the driver can pick it up quick enough, why, we'll change a spring or something.
They tell me that several of the fellows here tonight claim that they can break the track record here. Larry Schuler holds the record. I'm sure you know Larry. Last September, he clocked 11.668, I believe it is. That's pretty quick. Our best lap this year, Frank Gawlinski had an 11.719. Does that sound pretty fast?
It sounds awful fast on a fairly flat track like this. Tires are going to play a pretty important part. In other words, the wider and the softer tires of last year are definitely quicker. But we're breaking records all over yet this year, even with the narrower and harder tires, so we'll just have to see what happens. I wouldn't want to hazard a guess right now. I will say we'll be trying awful hard, though.
Jim, I hope you like our track, and I hope that one of these Saturday nights or Sunday nights you pop in and pay a surprise visit to Raceway Park. We pay a pretty decent buck on Saturdays.
Real good. Well, I'll be here maybe one of these nights and surprise everybody.
Thank you, Jim. Nice meeting you. Jim Sauter of Nacita, Wisconsin, one of our star drivers from ARTGO Racing.